Los Angeles is now the largest city in the nation to adopt a major minimum wage hike after the city council voted to raise it to $15 an hour.
Wow, that's big news.
That's amazing. The measure
I didn't say that. I just said it's big news.
It's great news, isn't it, Joe? Say it's great.
It's big news.
The measure would require businesses with more than 25 employees to meet the $15 an hour level by 2020, while smaller businesses would have an additional year to comply. Joining us now, the mayor of Los Angeles, Eric Garcetti. I think I have a new favorite mayor, along with CNBC chief international correspondent Michelle Caruso Cabrera. Michelle is here to say why this is such good news. Thank you, Michelle, for coming along. Was this difficult to get through? What were the arguments?
Surprisingly not. I think we've seen American workers increase their productivity by 65%.
Don't you have businesses saying we're going to have to lay people off now?
I think people understand. We actually had a coalition. A majority of Republicans and a majority of Democrats were for this. It was a bipartisan, nonpartisan issue where people realize there's not money on Main Street, that people are working full time. Businesses are suffering because those folks can't go out to dinner. They can't buy goods on Main Street.
They can't live.
They can't live. They can't be home to help their kids with their homework. So we look at all these issues, whether it's education, whether it's looking at the way people commute through our city, whether it's looking at our economic development, and too many people, 97%, by the way, who earn the minimum wage are over 20.
Michelle, what do you say?
Michelle was just looking at her watch.
What is
Are you
watch,
serious?
by the way? I was getting a tweet.
You were getting a tweet.
That tweeted, teased that we were going to be on together.
She has the Apple Watch.
No, I thought you were. But tell me what the other side of this is.
Well, I mean, you highlighted it, which is that undoubtedly some people are going to lose their jobs. A small to medium-sized business likely will have to make the choice. This is how much money I have to pay employees. And so if I have to pay a certain number of, if I have to pay employees this amount, some people are going to have to lose their jobs. So my question is, what's better? More people employed at a lower wage or fewer people employed at a higher wage? And I think the answer is really morally ambiguous. This is about trade-offs. You can't, and everybody understands this, right? When things get more expensive, we tend to use less of them or buy less of them. And when employers find things more expensive, they don't have them.
There's no doubt it's complicated, but what gets more expensive is when people have to take sick days. What gets more expensive is when people are working 2 or 3 jobs, and we subsidize poverty because people have to have after-school programs that the parents can't be home to help their kids with homework. So when we've seen this, we studied this closely. We brought in the best economists, peer-reviewed. We reviewed 3 different studies, and they showed we would net gain jobs, and certainly to allow people who are working full-time to actually have enough money to live off of, that was going to be
Casey, look at these numbers we put up. Can you guys put the numbers back up for the big cities, $15 an hour? I'm certainly not a proponent of jumping something up $15 an hour. But let me tell you something. Yeah. If you don't live in these big cities, you don't know how expensive it is to live in these big cities. So that $15 an hour probably is more like $9, $10 an hour in a place like Pensacola, Florida. That's just the reality.
Cost of living really high. But, Mr. Mayor, I'm actually curious. We've also seen some big companies raise their minimum wage or say they're going to lift the floor. I'm wondering, as somebody who deals with this strictly politically, what is their motivation for that? Are they trying to get good press? Do they feel political pressure on this issue?
It's not just about politics. I think it's about human beings. They realize that the turnover rate that they have, for instance, in the fast food industry, it's 150% a year. That's really expensive for people to have to train workers basically with a help wanted sign all the time. So when they pay more, they see better workers, productivity goes up, fewer sick days, and less money they have to spend on training. So it's not just about the added costs. There's actually added reductions of costs that happen to all these businesses as well.
There's different dimensions to this. There's a local story here my husband's working on. Ambulance drivers. Ambulance drivers. 19 years old, making $11 an hour, getting into accidents because they have to work 3 jobs or take on 2 shifts because they don't make enough money. Ambulance drivers, $11 an hour. Think about that. If you ever get hurt and you're being rushed to the hospital,
poverty is expensive. That's what we kept saying. Poverty is expensive. We had Republican business leaders support us. We had Democrats, obviously. We had people on the street who said we can't struggle to survive.
The answer to getting better wages for the 19-year-old driving the ambulance,
pay them better.
Is more education so that they can get better jobs. This is about lifting people.
That doesn't make for a better ambulance driver. Just saying. Mayor Garcetti, thank you very much. CNBC's Michelle Caruso Cabrera, thank you.